AI is transforming project management right now. Even while you are watching this video, I have just created an AI workflow to automate the whole stakeholder management, and it will help you cut down on the project chaos. After 15 years in IT project management, I learned that stakeholder management is the most important part of any project. But at the same time, it's the most time-consuming aspect. In this video, I'll show you how to create a stakeholder engagement analyzer with AI capabilities step by step, and you don't need any technical skills here. Alright, we will use Zapier.com, but this video is not sponsored by Zapier. You can use whatever automation platform you have access to. As you can see, we can use AI to build these workflows, but in today's video I'll show you how to do it step by step yourself, clicking all the fields that you need. But before automating anything, you should think through the workflow that you want to automate. You need to understand what's the output and what's the trigger. So in this case, the idea is that whenever I put a transcript of a meeting into this folder, it should automatically fill out some fields inside this spreadsheet. Again, we want to build a stakeholder engagement log here. That's why I want to capture the date of the meeting, name of stakeholder, their sentiment, engagement level, and the summary of the whole conversation. Alright, let's get started. First, we need the trigger. And here we'll use Google Drive. Now, you might have an extra step if you never connected your Google Drive account to Zapier, but it's a straightforward step-by-step process. Nothing fancy here. Next, we need to choose the event. What event we are going to use to trigger this workflow. And as you can see, there are several options here. We'll use this one, New File in Folder. Next, we'll hit Continue. Here you need to choose the folder. I'll go to my folders, and here I will select the one that I prepared for stakeholder management automation. So let's find, here it is. So we'll use this folder. You may want to include subfolders, that's fine, maybe up to 5 levels deep, and we'll trigger this event only if it's a non-deleted file, so basically when it's a new file. Then we click Continue. And Zapier provides you with this testing capability, and I always recommend that you test your steps one by one, so that you don't try to troubleshoot the whole workflow. And as you will see, it will help you to select the right fields to map to the spreadsheet right away. So I'll put one of these files into the folder right away, for example this one. It's in the folder. Let me see if I can test the trigger. In this case, I need to wait while it's getting to the cloud storage itself. And here we have the file that we'll use as the test record. Once we click Continue, it prompts us to select the action that we'll use. And as you can see on the list, we have AI by Zapier, and I'll use this module. But before we proceed, I want to discuss one critical mindset shift that lots of project managers need to make. Right now, I'm building this system so that I can manually put the files in the folder, so I have total control of the transcripts that go there. And this is the old school type of thinking, because I'm thinking one step ahead and I'm imagining a situation where I upload dozens of transcripts in this folder with different people, and I get the stakeholder engagement analysis for each one of them. And some of these people might not be my stakeholders, or they are like low priority stakeholders. And now I think, oh, how I'm going to analyze all those records in the long run if there will be like hundreds of thousands of rows in that spreadsheet. And that's the point. You are not going to do it yourself with your brain and your eyes. You will also use AI to analyze the final outcome of this automation. So at some point you may decide to put every single transcript that relates to your project automatically to this folder and parse it with this AI automation. Alright, let's get back. So here we have the prompt builder. There are some pre-built prompts, but I'll be using custom prompt, and I can select one of the models. And GPT 4o Mini is a good starting point for such tasks. Now we get to probably the most technical part of this setup is the input field. We need to provide a file to this AI module to consume. So here, when I click on this field, I will name this input transcript and then the value. And here you can hit the slash button and it will provide you some suggestions on what could be the input here. The caveat here is that using a PDF is much better than using the Google Docs file. And you should know that whenever you have a Google Docs file, it actually comes with PDF file as well. And as you can see here, I have an option file PDF. It exists but not shown. And last but not least, I need to select the type, and we say this is a file. And now we save it. For a more advanced setup, you can add knowledge sources. So you can imagine, for example, that here you can upload your stakeholder management plan, and you will have the engagement plans for top stakeholders there. And this will give AI an additional source of knowledge that they can use in the analysis. It's beyond today's video, but consider the option that you can actually compare today's engagement with the planned engagement that you set up for that stakeholder. So I'm skipping the knowledge source, and now we need to write a prompt. I'm going to go into my prompt vault that I keep inside ClickUp. Okay, here it is. And by the way, if you don't know the term prompt vault, it's one of the key steps for project managers to know in the AI framework that I teach. And if you want, you can watch this video later, and I'll leave you a link in the description about how to apply AI to project management problems. All right, even today, with all the development in the AI technologies, prompt engineering is the heart of any implementation. As you can see, it's a bit more complicated prompt than the one you use on daily basis with ChatGPT. So the role. You are a senior project manager and change management expert with extensive experience in stakeholder analysis and effective communication strategies. Your expertise lies in interpreting nuances in dialogues to evaluate stakeholder positioning, morale, and buy-in. The task? To analyze the provided transcript of a project meeting, and the goal is to deliver an updated assessment of stakeholder engagement based on dynamics observed during this specific conversation. So instructions: identify each distinct internal and external stakeholder who participated in the conversation, examine their contribution to assess their current sentiment, and you can specify the grades of sentiment that you want, or you can leave it and ask to AI to describe it in a narrative language. The same with engagement level. So here I'm setting up the levels I want to see, but you can do whatever applies to your situation. And for each stakeholder, craft a single concise paragraph, approximately 3 to 5 sentences, summarizing their stance for this specific chat or this specific conversation. We don't want this AI to be very creative, so we want to guardrail it and set this that we want to clearly state the stakeholders' apparent sentiment and engagement level. We want it to cite evidence and maybe point out any hidden risks or opportunities associated with these stakeholders' level buy-in. Oh, by the way, if you want me to create more videos on AI automations and tools, click the like button. It will indicate that you are interested in this topic. Thank you in advance. All right, we'll copy this and go back to the prompt builder and paste it here. As you can see, it also gives you the prompt strength, so it will help you to craft a good, powerful prompt that will get you results. By the way, you have the button to improve prompt, and if you don't know how to write these powerful prompts yourself, it will help you. Just describe what you want to achieve in a narrative language. Next, we need to specify the output fields, the ones that we'll then use in our spreadsheet. And let's try to use this AI option to generate it based on the prompt and see what it gives us. Okay, as you can see, it generated 5 outputs, but I see that we don't need stakeholder type, so I can delete this one. By the way, do notice that it updated the prompt strength to good, because before that it didn't have any specific instructions in here about stakeholder type, but we expected the output field of that meaning. You can always click on this edit button and see what are the options and how it described the field so that AI understands what to put in these fields. And if needed, you can adjust anything to help AI to provide you with the better information. Okay, one last step. We need to go to advanced options and we will need to enable this one because we will have multiple stakeholders who will have all these output fields. That's why we want to get an array of objects, which means it will create the output based on the number of stakeholders. All right, fingers crossed, let's try to generate preview. After about 10 seconds, it generated this preview, and as you can see, it found some stakeholders, analyzed their engagement, and this is the summary paragraph that it will provide further. All right, we are done with this model. We can finalize it. So it prompts me to add the next step, but let me show you what we created so far. So we have the trigger. Whenever something gets into this folder, every 2 minutes, it will check for new files. Once it's in, it will pass it to the AI by Zapier, where we'll use the prompt, and then it will output. And now we need to add the action to write that output in our Google Sheet. Let's click on the action. We'll find Google Sheet in the list. So here's Google Sheet. Now we need to select the action event. Be attentive here, we have multiple entries, so we'll need to add multiple rows, and we'll create multiple spreadsheet rows as an action. Again, we'll need to select the account. If you already connected your Google Drive, you will basically need to do nothing here, just select from the list. Then continue to configuring the spreadsheet table. Okay, selecting the drive where the file that we want to use. So here because like it's Google Drive, it knows that we opened up this file. You can see it here. Sometimes you may need to search for your spreadsheet. Then the worksheet, we have one worksheet there. All right, and as you can see, it's already analyzed the worksheet and gave us the rows that we have there. So now we need to map these fields to the fields or the inputs that we have from other steps. And if you click on any of these rows and you click this slash button, you can see the list of all possible options from the first step and from the analysis. So in this case, I need a date, and usually the creation date of the file will be the date of that meeting. Then we go to the name and basically do the same, but now we go to the outputs of analyze and return data in AI by Zapier. And as you can see, it will try to suggest you the most appropriate field based on the context. And you can see that we have result stakeholder name, that's the one. Then we move to sentiment. Same here, let it try to analyze what we want here, and result sentiment, good. Engagement level, let's wait and see where is engagement level. Okay, good. And then last but not least, the summary. By the way, if you don't find anything, what you need in this list, you can go and manually find it in the outputs. So for example, here's the summary that we need. All right, let's continue, and we can actually run a test based on the test data. This will be the test data, and if I click the test step, it will go and populate or execute this step. All right, let's go back and see if it added these rows to the table. As you can see, it generated it pretty well. So if you read this, so John expressed a neutral sentiment, contributing actively while seeking clarity on Jira access and project tasks. His willingness to learn about Jira and engage in discussions indicates supportive engagement, although his struggles with initial setup and understanding project specifics reflects potential concerns regarding his readiness for project's technical aspects, maybe some proactivity issues as well. It suggests an opportunity for further training, especially with new tools. So if the test is satisfactory, we can go back and we need to publish this workflow so it starts working whenever we want to trigger it. But here's the thing you need to understand. It's not like it's one and done setup. You'll have to maintain it. There will be edge cases where you will need to fine-tune the setup, or maybe it won't be very dramatic issues and you can accept them as a drawback. So set up correct expectations that it's just version 1 and you need to spend some effort on maintaining this tool. But in the long run, the efforts that you save on this automation will outweigh any setup that you will spend here. All right, let's try to test this out and put more files into this folder. Let me copy 2 more. As you know, we need to wait up to 2 minutes, so I'll skip this time in the video and we'll get back to you once the workflow acted. Alright, as you can see, it started to populating new entries here with those 2 files. And now even more from the second one. Alright, there you have it. You just saved tremendous amount of hours each week. And I would tell even more, you would never do this manually. You may take notes here and there, but this depth of analysis would never happen without AI. But now you might be looking at this and saying like, okay, Dmitry, but still this is like a wall of text. What should I do with all of this? And if you've been in project management long enough, you understand that stakeholder management is not about the snapshot, the today's feeling about a stakeholder. It's all about the trend in their engagement. So imagine another automation that will run, for example, once a week. And it will go into this file, it will summarize the engagement level and sentiment of a stakeholder throughout all the interactions and send the update into your Slack channel or Google Meets chat. By the way, if you want me to try to build this system as the next video, please say yes in the comments below. And together we'll build even more powerful automation that will help you each week to adjust the way you communicate and engage with your stakeholders. But before we do that, even now you can benefit from this whole information, because if you use Google or even Microsoft with Copilot, you can analyze this data. You can write a prompt and ask, for example, what is the trend in John Smith's engagement with my project. And Gemini will analyze the data from this file, even if there are like hundreds or thousands of entries, because it has such a large context window that this is nothing to its capabilities. As you can see, it pulled out the records from all these entries. But you can take it one step further. Who is the riskiest stakeholder on the project and why? So let's see. And actually some AI magic just happened, because Gemini switched to reasoning mode and went into doing the analysis and creating some reports for itself before generating the answer. And it says, okay, based on the stakeholder engagement log, Robert Duke is the riskiest stakeholder on the project, primarily due to his consistently low level of engagement and recurring issues with clarifying project scope, with present and significant risks of misalignment. And it goes into more details what you need to be aware of and maybe what you need to take on as an action. Alright guys, if you are not doing something like this already on daily basis, if you don't dedicate at least 30 minutes per day to master AI skills or AI automations like this, or even building AI agents around the same problems, you are becoming irrelevant each and every day. That's why I recommend that you watch this video next, where I describe what AI skills you need to learn ASAP right now after this video. Click this video now and I'll talk to you there. Bye bye.